Anxiety therapy. These take the forms of either medical therapy, in other words medication or drugs, and talking therapies like CBT. But can these therapies be successful in treating anxiety disorders? Let me explain something first of all about how anxiety disorders are formed and perpetuated in the mind. Anxiety disorders are formed when the subconscious anxious reaction that happens in the amygdala, which is the anxiety control centre in the brain, becomes fixed in the on position. In other words, you feel anxious all of the time, rather than just feeling anxious when it's appropriate, when there's something in your vicinity to be frightened of. The flight or fight response is the response that the brain sends out to prepare you for fighting or fleeing from a potential danger, a real danger, something that poses a real threat to you. Now, drug therapy works on the premise that when you ingest a tablet, you take a tablet through your mouth and it goes into your stomach, that it's digested into your bloodstream and it moves to the part of the brain that can offer some therapeutic effect. Now, with drugs like antidepressants and beta blockers and sedatives, and in certain conditions, depressive conditions or psychoses, for example, these drugs can have vast therapeutic effect and can be very, very settling indeed. But in anxiety disorders, they rarely work. At best, they offer a soporific effect, which makes you feel a little bit drowsy, or maybe lifts your mood slightly in the case of antidepressants. And beta blockers work by slowing down the heart rate, which in turn then has the effect of slowing down your anxiety. But are these things curative? No, because none of them reach the part of the brain that needs to be reached in order to make a curative effect. In other words, the part of the brain, the amygdala, the anxiety control centre in the brain, needs to be affected in order to undermine and eliminate your anxiety disorder. And this is fact. Any psychopharmacologist or psychophysiologist will tell you that what I'm saying is absolutely true. No drug has been developed or ever could be developed that could be ingested, go into your stomach, go into your bloodstream, travel to your brain, identify the specific area of your brain responsible for the anxiety, then find the neural pathways of behaviour that are responsible for your anxiety disorder, the specific neural pathways out of billions that are inside your brain, and selectively prune those to get rid of the behaviours that cause your anxiety. It's just not possible. And as far as I can tell, and as far as psychophysiologists can tell, it won't be possible in the future. Because for a start, it's difficult to identify those neural pathways. They're not numbered. It isn't like wiring on a circuit board where you can just instantly go to a specific area and decide which wires are defective and then remove them. It's just not that simple. The brain is incredibly complex, as you know, and we don't understand it fully. So to find that area of the brain and select it and be targeted in a medical approach is just nigh on impossible, because what we're talking about here is a condition that is caused by behaviour. So why doesn't CBT work, or other talking therapies used commonly for anxiety disorders? Well, they don't work because they're not targeted enough. And some of the techniques that they teach are incredibly counterproductive. Things like keeping anxiety diaries, rating your anxiety on a scale of 1 to 10. These things are so counterproductive because they focus you on the anxiety. So all you're going to do is be reminded that you're anxious at all. And what you're trying to do is forget that you're anxious. You're trying to force your subconscious mind to believe that you're not anxious. And by doing so, it will reset your subconscious anxiety level back down to a normal level, your birth preset. And this can be done very, very simply. Anxiety therapies tend to focus on either the physical aspects, in other words, the symptoms, or maybe what they think are the causes. So things like past trauma or life events that they think were the start of your anxiety. But they're not. The cause of your anxiety is this mechanism in the subconscious mind that is misfiring. It's become reset, and it's sending out nerve impulses at a higher than normal level of anxiety, an inappropriate level. And it is this that needs to be corrected. Now, we've shown in over 125,000 cases so far, up to 2009, for the last 12 years, that our therapy, the Linden Method program, can do that, and it does it effectively with a massively high success rate. And in fact, I would go as far as to say that if you comply, it is completely curative. When I say curative, what does that mean? It means that it will permanently and completely eliminate all of your inappropriate anxiety, with no return of the symptoms, sensations or thoughts. So just to recap, anxiety therapy, what is it? Talking therapies, drug therapy, in our experience, don't work because they're counterproductive and untargeted. What does work is a multifaceted approach, a simple approach that undoes the changes in the subconscious mind that caused your anxiety disorder. And you can follow the lead of tens of thousands of recovered anxiety disorder sufferers around the world and become completely anxiety free using a method that is the natural and only solution to anxiety disorders, because it's the only thing that addresses the subconscious anxious mechanism in your brain that caused your disorder. Thank you.